Hello and welcome to the GMS Magazine channel. I am Paco Garcia, your host. And today I'm bringing you a review of an indie role-playing game that's going to put the players in the shoes of a dead gardener. Well, or a gardener that's about to die. Yes, it's basically called that. It's called The Gardener's Dead. It's being authored by InkyGinge and is a very indie production that I got because I just thought it sounded so bizarre and unique. Has it been worth the amount of money that I had to pay to get my hands on it? I am about to tell you. Welcome to the GMS Magazine RPG review videos. You know that I am an absolute nut for indie games. I really like the creativity and the uniqueness that they bring to the table so many times. So when I saw InkyGinge in Twitter talking about The Garden is Dead and how there were very few copies left in physical format, I just had to have it. Now, am I glad I did? You know, despite the fact that this thing was £16 and we're talking about a 28 pages, very indie fanzine-like production, this is not cheap. It certainly isn't cheap. You can get much bigger books that will bring you a lot more pages for the same amount of money. But that's not how I'm going to judge this book and how I'm going to review it, because that's not really the point of an indie game and what it can bring onto the table. But before I jump onto that, let's take a look at a little bit of the production of what the book is all about. The Garden is Dead is a 28 pages fanzine type booklet that comes in black and white and basically has very basic production values, with all the attention to detail being put into how the illustration and how the layout is being set up. As you can see, it's just the same type of paper all over the place. There is no hard or soft cover because the cover is exactly the same as the inside paper, which is, well, kind of normal, I suppose, for this kind of production. And this is a very limited amount of games that have been published. So I am absolutely happy with it, because what drove me to buy this wasn't particularly the quality of the production, but the fact that I have something that very few people are going to have, and I like that. Even though this could be reprinted again in the future, but this first edition, that's mine, and I have it, and I love that. This is something that I do love. What can I say? Yes, hate me. So, what is it like? Firstly, I have to say that I love the illustrations. They have been done, which is something that I have to praise. The credits are just fantastic, and absolutely everybody has been quoted in here, which is absolutely fantastic. So, the illustration by Fernando Salvaterra, I love them. They are really cool, creepy where they are meant to be creepy, very simple, and at the same time rather evocative, which is absolutely wonderful. But I'm jumping ahead a little bit. There is a one column layout, which is good. There is plenty of space for absolutely everything, so reading this is very easy. You can tell though that it could have done with a little bit more editing, but to make it slightly easier to understand some of the concepts. But other than that, I think it reads rather well. It's very easy on the eyes, which is nice for people such as myself with dyslexia. And they have taken space to actually introduce everything that you need in order to play the game, including how to use some of the safety tools, which for these kind of games is actually quite an important tool to keep in mind. What is this game all about? This is a 1 to 4 player solo or storytelling game. in which essentially you are going to play the life of a gardener who's tending to a garden that's been long abandoned, and you're going to play this gardener until they die. At the beginning of the game, you're also going to find a note from the previous gardener that gives you some sort of warning or piece of advice about what the garden is all about and what you are going to be facing. Now, this may sound like it isn't something all that interesting, but believe me, this is a huge but. It's fantastic, and I will tell you a couple of the things that makes it so good. Firstly, there is an absolutely brilliant, and I mean really brilliant, way to build the garden. Before you even start, that's going to be part of the collaborative aspect of this game among the players. You have to choose what kind of garden it's going to be, how long it's been abandoned, who tended it in the past, and what piece of advice it left to the current or the new gardener. But also you're going to define what ghosts, what strange events, what mementos, and what plants are in the garden. And this is where the world building aspect of this becomes really interesting. Why? Because you could transplant this to pretty much any game you like. So if you're very used to play something like Dungeons and Dragons, of Call of Cthulhu, which are the games I more frequently play, it would be quite easy for me to think, okay, we're going to go into this mansion, what is this garden all about? And suddenly, with filling up a gaming session, I can have a whole adventure placed in the garden where this mansion is located, regardless of whether it is in Miskatonic or Baldur's Gate. I love that. I love that just by that, it can add a completely new dimension. But also, as I see it, if there is a kind of, let's say that there is a banshee in that garden that's haunting that place, it would be really cool to get to know why, to figure out, is that banshee the gardener, the previous one that was there before? I like that sort of ideas inspiration, which is brilliant. Throughout the game, players are going to take turns to tell the story, and to tell the story throughout the seasons, and every season is going to become accompanied with a particular theme, whether it is rebirth, withering, tending, planting, whatever it is. At the end, and this is another of the cool aspects of this game, at the end of every round, you're going to roll a die. And you're going to subtract that die, which is a d6, from the number of years that the gardener has to live. 20 is a good starting point for a game of 3 to 4 hours. If you want to make it longer for whatever reason, then you can make it 30 or 35. If you want to make it shorter, then make it 15 or even 10 years. And I do like the idea that there is a finite quality to the whole game that's going to end up with the death of this gardener. You're also going to need a deck of cards, a pocket cards, because at the beginning of this book, you can see the sow, the bloom, the wither, the reap, and each one is going to have your determination, your courage, the new beginnings, passion, the friendship, the opportunity. That's going to define what is the tone of that turn. But to make it a little bit richer, we'll look a little bit further in. When you draw the cards, each number is also going to give you a few prompts. That's going to tell you when the ghosts come in, when a memento is found. It's going to ask questions that will help you drive the story story. I was going to say adventure, but adventure it doesn't have to be. It's just a story of the gardener, and depending on, you know, if you get a heart or a diamond, you're going to get a different theme altogether. The idea is that each player is going to play one of the seasons. So everybody's going to play a winter, spring, a summer, an autumn or fall. And I love that. It's just, it feels so good to know that I'm going to have a say, that I'm going to have something to contribute to each season, and that it's going to be challenged by what is in every number. I am going to recommend this based just on the incredible amount for potential for storytelling that this game has to offer. Even though it is something as limited to you are going to play a gardener who is going to end up dead, I just can't imagine how many stories can be told, invented, created through this game. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't know how much the PDF is. I think you can get it in itch.io, which is going to be a link in the video description. But I am just in love with the concept. Absolutely in love with it. And I wish we'd see more games like this. So yes, you should get this, even if it is just an experiment, and just to, you know, send a $5 on the direction of the creator. I think this is just wonderful. And I am so pleased that I spent the 16 quid on this. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. So yes, please do get it. And do let me know about your gardener. It would be great to hear. Thank you very much indeed for being there. And until the next time, I will talk to you very soon indeed. Take care.